Get ready for Agatha all along with a complete recap of WandaVision. Here we go! A newlywed couple just moved to town, a regular husband and wife who left the big city to find a quiet life. Wanda Maximoff is a magical gal in a small town locale, Vision a hubby who's part machine. How will this duo fit in and fulfill all? By sharing a love like you've never seen before. In black and white, which is the worst colour to watch shows in. But they're sharing the story as if it's a 1950s sitcom, where only rich folk like Howard Stark could afford a colour TV. Wanda and Vision have just moved into their new home in the town of Westview, trying to live an ordinary life, despite their uniquenesses. As they settle in, they notice a heart drawn on their calendar for today's date, but they can't remember why, until Vision remembers why. You see, Vision works at a vague computational services company whose boss's name is Mr. Hart, and had planned dinner with him and his wife Mrs. Hart at their home. We interrupt this recap with an ad. The Toastmate 2000. Put bread in, wait a few minutes, now your bread is warmer and slightly darker, depending on how long you keep it in for. With little time to prepare for Mr. and Mrs. Hart, Wanda's friend Agnes brings over food for her to chaotically cook up, while Vision entertains the adult guests with children's songs.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
As the couple of couples sit down for their meal, Mr. Hart chokes on his dinner. The atmosphere changes to eerie as they watch him suffer for several seconds before Wanda gives Vision permission to use his powers to save him. The tone then instantly switches back to lighthearted, but there was something odd about that whole situation. The first episode of WandaVision ends with us watching someone watching the first episode of WandaVision. It's the swinging 60s, or should I say, scary 60s, because something is making noise outside Wanda and Vision's bedroom. And it's nothing. The couple are preparing to perform a magic act for a community talent show fundraiser, but before they can wow the crowd, Vision has a meeting with the local neighborhood watch where he accidentally swallows a piece of gum, clogging his cogs, leaving him in a drunken-like state. Meanwhile, Wanda finds a Technicolor toy helicopter, which doesn't match the aesthetic at all. And that's not the only unusual experience Wanda encounters. At the Women's Committee meeting, she hears a mysterious voice calling out her name over the radio, asking,
Who's doing this to you, Wanda?
This unsettles her, but the moment passes without any explanation. We interrupt this recap with an ad. Strucker watches. It's what people used to look at to know the time before smartphones were invented. At the talent show, Vision, still affected by the gum, accidentally uses his powers during the act, so Wanda has to secretly use her powers so the town doesn't get suspicious. Despite the mishaps, the show is a success, and they win the competition. Upon returning home, Wanda falls pregnant, but as she and Vision are joyfully sharing this special moment, they hear something making noise outside. And it's a sewage-crawling beekeeper? Wanda doesn't like the sight of that, so she rewinds and tries the scene again. Upon returning home, Wanda falls pregnant. She and Vision joyfully share this special moment before having a feeling that they're not in black and white anymore. After a 70s title sequence that always goes on for about 5 minutes longer than they need to, Wanda speedruns through pregnancy. This unusual pregnancy is coupled with unusual activity happening around Wanda and Vision's home, like the ceiling raining and a stork roaming the house. And it's not just inside the house where everything is acting strange. Outside, Vision gets suspicious about the behavior of Westview residents. He questions Wanda about this, but the conversation rewinds and the moment is erased, leaving Vision unaware of his previous concerns. We interrupt this recap with an ad. Soap. Wash it on yourself to smell nicer. Unless the soap scent is foul, then you may smell worse. So get like a flower-scented one. Wanda goes into labour, causing the house to poltergeist. Vision rushes out to find the doctor, but she needs someone now, so is assisted by their neighbour, Geraldine. When it comes to the baby's name, Wanda and Vision can't agree on naming the child Tommy or Billy. They could always merge the name to Tolly or Bib. Oh, never mind, they have twins. Which makes sense, because that gene runs in the family, just like Wanda and Not So Quicksilver. Speaking of who, Geraldine makes this twin connection and mentions Pietro's death by the hands of Ultron. Wanda becomes suspicious as to how Geraldine would know this information, then notices her wearing a sword necklace, as in Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division necklace. So the witch removes her character from the show, landing outside a mysterious energy field surrounded by those Sentient Weapon Observation and Response Division agents. About a month prior to these events, Monica Rambeau re-emerges from the blip in a hospital to discover her mother, Maria Rambeau, has passed away within those 5 years. After taking a couple of weeks to process all of this, Monica returns to her job at SWORD, where she's tasked with investigating a missing persons case near the town of Westview in New Jersey. She partners with FBI agent Jimmy Woo, who shows off the card trick he's been learning to impress Scott when they have coffee later. Monica and Jimmy discuss that the town of Westview seems to be surrounded by an energy field, which no one can enter or leave, until Monica gets up close to it and enters the force field to become Geraldine. Sword sets up a base camp outside the town and brings in scientist Darcy Lewis to analyze the anomaly. She discovers the energy field is broadcasting a signal that resembles old TV shows and learns that Westview is playing out like a sitcom starring Wanda Maximoff and Vision. Darcy, Sword, and the FBI agents binge watch the first 3 episodes of WandaVision, trying to understand what's happening inside. They even make themselves part of the show by being responsible for the unusual events occurring within, like the colourful helicopter, beekeeper, and Jimmy Woo being the voice on the radio questioning who is doing this to her. It turns out, according to Monica,
it's all Wanda.
Back inside the WandaVision sitcom, where the era has shifted to the 80s. Because Wanda and Vision didn't have sexy time to conceive their children, that means Tommy and Billy are Marvel Jesus. Well, until Deadpool comes along. They, like Wanda's pregnancy, are speedrunning through life, rapidly aging to 10 years old. Wanda's friend Agnes seems unfazed by this and names their dog Sparky. Meanwhile, Vision remains concerned. At his workplace, he receives an electronic mail from Sword on the outside of the Hex trying to communicate with him. He then uses his powers to snap one of his co-workers back to reality, who reveals he's trapped within this false reality, terrified and in pain. Outside the Hex, Sword director Tyler Haywood believes that Wanda must be stopped at all costs, while Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy think she's just acting out of grief from the loss of all her loved ones over the years and can still be reasoned with. They send in a drone to communicate with her, but Haywood orders to attack, leading to Wanda stepping out of Westview and confronting the Sword agents in her vague Eastern European accent. She warns them to leave her alone or she'll bibbidi-bobbidi-boo them all. We interrupt this recap with an ad. Lagos paper towels, for when you suck at picking up drinks. Back in Westview, Vision confronts Wanda about the strange things that are happening. This leads to a tense confrontation between the pair where Vision demands the truth. But Wanda doesn't think he can handle the truth, so lets him down gently, claiming she's not controlling everything in Westview. Suddenly, the conversation is interrupted by the doorbell. Standing outside is Wanda's brother, Pietro, but he doesn't look the same as he did last time we saw him, and it's not just a different t-shirt.
She recast Pietro?
Sitcom era shift to the late 90s, where the characters dress up in their comic book accurate costumes for Halloween. We interrupt this recap with an ad. Yogurt! It's like milk, but thicker. Suspicions continue to arise from both Vision and Wanda. The latter is not only confused why her brother looks different, but also how he's here. She didn't see that coming. Vision, on the other hand, explores the outer parts of Westview for more answers, where he comes across someone who isn't very good at hanging up Halloween decorations, and Agnes, who isn't very good with directions. He uses his powers to snap her back to reality, where she reveals that Vision is supposed to be the opposite of alive. After switching her mind back into the show, he moves to the boundary and passes through the Hex. Meanwhile, tensions rise outside Westview against Sword Agent Haywood from Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy, who are concerned about his hidden agenda. Haywood has them arrested, but Monica and Jimmy manage to escape. As Vision passes through the boundary of the Hex, his body starts to disintegrate. Luckily, Tommy and Billy inherited powers from their parents. Tommy is fast like the Flash, Dash, and Sonic. Oh, and his uncle, while Billy is magic like Harry Potter, Merlin, and Elsa. Oh, and his mother. Billy's powers sense his father is in danger, warning his mother. In order to save him, Wanda expands the boundaries of the Hex, engulfing the Sword base, transforming it, the agents, and Darcy into a sitcom reality. This reality then shifts to the mid to late 2000s sitcom era. However, the house starts time traveling through all the other eras. Wanda is tired and decides to take a day for herself, leaving Tommy and Billy in the care of Agnes. Meanwhile, Vision wakes on the outskirts of Westview, where he frees Darcy from her mind control before she catches him up on the Infinity Saga. We interrupt this recap with an ad. Depression medication. Side effects may include depression. Outside the Hex, Monica, Jimmy, Haywood, and a few other Sword agents manage to evade getting caught inside the Hex's expansion. But Monica and Jimmy now want to be inside the Hex's expansion. As Monica breaks through the barrier, the energy gives her energy in the form of superpowers. She confronts Wanda, trying to reason with her, but she's not interested in what Monica has to say and forces her to do a superhero landing, which is really hard on your knees. Agnes comforts Wanda and takes her inside her house. However, Wanda is confused as to where her kids are. This is where we learn who's been messing up everything. It's been Agnes all along, but her real name is Agatha Harkness. She's been pulling every evil string. She's insidious, so perfidious that you haven't even noticed. And the pit is, it's too late to fix anything now that everything has gone wrong thanks to Agatha. Naughty Agatha. So to summarize, it's been Agatha all along.
And I killed Sparky too.
We flash back to 1693, where a coven of witches, including her mother, try to drain Agatha's powers for practicing dark magic, but she instead drains theirs, plus their lives. Back in the present, where Agatha is holding Wanda captive in her basement, demanding she reveal how she was able to create the Hex so she can be as powerful as her. To get this information out of her, Agatha takes Wanda on a journey through notable moments in her life, like why she enjoys sitcoms so much, how her TV and electricity survived an explosion, but her parents didn't, deducing that Wanda and her brother survived the destruction because of her unknown magical abilities that were amplified by the Mind Stone. The next core memory is a flashback to Wanda and Vision growing closer in their relationship during the Captain America Civil War, before the final moment relives her visiting SWORD headquarters, wanting to recover Vision's body for a proper burial, only to be refused and discover they're disassembling him for parts. This leads Wanda to drive to Westview, where Vision had bought land for them to build a home on and grow old together. She uses her grief to build this home, but also create the magical Hex and sitcom world within it, before also bringing Vision back to life. Agatha concludes that this was all created using chaos magic, making her the Scarlet Witch, and not just because every item of clothing she owns is red. As for that disassembled Vision, it's revealed that he's been reassembled by SWORD as Vanilla Vision. Wanda confronts Agatha, who's holding her two kids hostage, demanding Wanda's powerful powers, so Wanda throws a car at Harkness, leading to her reenacting a scene from The Wizard of Oz. Suddenly, Vision arrives, but it isn't colourful Vision, it's Vanilla, and as Wanda broke Vision's head during the Infinity Saga, he steals her move on her. Vanilla has been sent by SWORD to neutralize Wanda, but her husband steps in before her ex can complete the mission. So while the two Visions go off and fight, Wanda and Agatha battle, and Monica learns that Pietro is really just an actor with a funny name, cast by Agatha to play the role of Wanda's brother. The Visions have a philosophy lesson with each other.
You are familiar with the thought experiment, the ship of Theseus in the field of identity metaphysics? Naturally.
Then Colourful gives Vanilla his memories before flying off. Back with Wanda and Agatha, where Harkness tries to force the magic out of her, but Maximoff ends up embracing the full identity of the Scarlet Witch, which includes a costume upgrade, great for Disney's toy sales. She defeats Agatha and absorbs her magic, trapping her in the role of the nosy neighbor. In the process, the Hex barrier opened, allowing the SWORD agents to get through, who attacked Tommy and Billy. However, with help from Monica and Darcy, survived to live another day. Unfortunately, they don't get to live another day, because Wanda realizes she has to remove the Hex to release all the innocent people from her reality. After a heartfelt goodbye to Tommy, Billy, and Vision, knowing they can't exist outside her reality, Westview returns to its regularly scheduled self, for which the citizens are not impressed by the pain she caused them. Luckily, Wanda can just fly off from the awkward situation, which she does to a cabin in the woods, where she studies an ancient dark magic book known as the Darkhold in her astral form, trying to reunite with her family. As for Monica, she's informed by a Skrull that Fury wants to meet with her on the roof, I think? It's not very clear. She's pointing to the ceiling. Maybe he likes the view over Westview? And now you're all caught up and ready to see Agatha all along. You're welcome! Let me know in the comments what your favourite MCU movie or show is. And don't forget to absolutely obliterate that like, subscribe and share button. I'm just kidding. Only do it with enough force that it registers. I don't want any of you breaking whatever device you're watching this on.